What happens when the wild doesn't play by the rules? One photographer's quest for the perfect shot turns into a fight for survival. Could she have seen it coming? Or was this tragedy unavoidable? Stay with us, this story will change how you see the wild forever. Welcome to True Animal Terrors, where nature's most gripping stories come alive. Jenna Clark wasn't just another tourist snapping pictures. At 29, she was a seasoned wildlife photographer renowned for capturing rare, elusive creatures in the most remote corners of the globe. Born and raised amid the grey spires of London, Jenna's passion had taken her far beyond city streets, merging her artistry with activism through collaborations with several conservation nonprofits. Her photographs weren't just pretty snapshots. They told raw, powerful stories of survival beauty and the fragile bond between humans and nature. Fellow photographers admired her fearless approach, meticulous technique, and deep respect for the wild. One close colleague summed it up best: Jenna wasn't a tourist. She understood the rules of engagement. She knew the rhythms of the wilderness and honored them. But out here in the untamed world, the animals didn't always play by those rules. In early May of 2015, Jenna shared her plans with a growing online audience. A solo journey to South Africa focused on documenting the secret lives of African big cats for a new conservation campaign. Her followers tracked every step: posts of flight tickets, detailed camera gear checklists, annotated maps of Johannesburg's outskirts. The air buzzed with anticipation as she boarded a flight from Heathrow to OR Tambo International Airport. From there, she traveled to Lion Park, a wildlife reserve 30 miles outside the city, where lions and cheetahs roamed vast enclosures, freely not behind fences, but in open land that blurred the line between sanctuary and wild. Lion Park was no zoo. Visitors drove their own vehicles through dirt roads winding between tall grass and scattered acacia trees. The sun hung low in the late afternoon sky, casting a golden light that shimmered off the tawny coats of lions lounging lazily in the grass. Birds chirped faintly, the occasional breeze carrying the faint scent of earth and dry brush. Though the park promoted itself as a safe place to get close to these majestic predators, the danger was real and often underestimated. For Jenna, this was supposed to be a warm-up, a chance to gather some intimate shots before she moved on to harsher, wilder terrain. Her Jeep was packed with high-end DSLR cameras, long telephoto lenses, and a fierce determination to capture an image that would shake the world's complacency about lion conservation. As she cruised slowly along the dusty roads, Jenna's eyes locked on a lion who stood apart from the rest, a massive male with a thick, dark mane that rippled like a shadow in the late sun. His gaze was sharp, calculating, as if he understood the weight of her camera lens focused on him. Without hesitation, Jenna rolled down her window just enough to snap the perfect close-up shot. She'd done this before, coaxing calm from these giants with steady hands and quiet confidence. But this time, something was different. Unseen by Jenna, a guide in a nearby vehicle waved wildly, shouting warnings that got lost in the roar of her excitement. The lion's eyes suddenly shifted from passive to piercing, his body tensed muscles coiling like springs ready to snap. In that breathless moment, the world seemed to pause. The golden light dimmed, the wind stilled. Jenna's lens framed not just a beautiful beast, but a predator on the edge of strike. This lion was no ordinary cat. Only 2 years old, large for his age, and in his prime, he had been in the park for months. Unlike the other lions, he had a dangerous history of mock charges, thrilling but risky displays that had lulled visitors into a false sense of security. These charges weren't playful anymore. They had desensitized him to humans, eroding the boundaries between curiosity and threat. Jenna focused entirely on her shot, didn't notice the subtle signs: the tightening of the lion's jaw, the flick of his tail, the narrowing of his pupils. The grass whispered under his shifting weight. The typical sounds of the park, birds calling, leaves rustling, fell silent, as if nature itself was holding its breath. Then, without warning, the lion lunged. In a heartbeat, he thrust his massive head through the Jeep's open window. The camera slipped from Jenna's grip, crashing against the door. The lion's jaws snapped around her arm with brutal precision. Jenna's scream shattered the stillness, raw and terrified. The guide slammed on the gas, the Jeep lurching forward in a desperate bid to escape. But the lion was faster. He was too fast. His powerful roar echoed through the savannah as chaos erupted. The helpless photographer was helplessly trapped between awe and terror in a snap. The lion's claws dug mercilessly into the side of Jenna's Jeep, each powerful tug pulling her closer to the yawning jaws that had locked onto her arm with terrifying precision. The driver's hands shook as he fought to free her muscles, straining against the violent force of the beast. Blood blossomed across the dusty frame, stark and vivid against the earth tones of the vehicle. Jenna's screams, raw and desperate, were swallowed by the low, menacing growl that rumbled from the lion's throat, a sound so primal it sent a shiver through anyone who heard it. Around them, chaos erupted in a heartbeat too fast for onlookers to intervene or make sense of the nightmare unfolding before their eyes. Within minutes, the roar of approaching vehicles shattered the tense silence. Park rangers barreled down the dusty trails, their engines kicking up clouds of red dirt. One ranger fired a warning shot high into the air, hoping to startle the lion away, but it was already too late. The predator had fully shifted into hunting mode, focused, fierce, and utterly relentless. Despite the frantic efforts of the rangers and emergency responders, Jenna's injuries were catastrophic. She was pronounced dead at the scene, her life extinguished in an instant. The 66-year-old tour driver, though shaken and wounded, managed to survive his injuries, minor in comparison. His life spared, but Jenna's dream of capturing the elusive soul of Africa's greatest predator had ended abruptly, a tragic echo in the vast wilderness. News of Jenna Clark's death spread like wildfire, rippling through the worlds of wildlife photography, conservation, and tourism. Major media outlets around the globe covered the story, each dissecting what had happened and why. Headlines declared the heartbreaking loss of a brilliant young photographer felled by the very creature she sought to immortalize. South African news reports focused on the growing tension between the lure of tourism and the harsh realities of conservation. Questions surged. Were Lion Park's safety protocols sufficient? Had visitors been properly warned? Social media exploded with shock, grief, and anger. Experts weighed in, shedding light on the complexities of wildlife habituation. One anonymous specialist familiar with the park explained lions in safari parks become desensitized to vehicles. They no longer see cars as threats, but as part of the landscape. When you open a window, it's like opening a door for an animal that doesn't hesitate to step inside. This chilling insight exposed a dangerous truth. Habituated lions lose the natural fear that keeps wild encounters safe. Rules designed to protect both humans and animals were often ignored, visitors chasing that one perfect shot, blinded to the risks. Jenna's death served as a stark and painful reminder that those rules exist for a reason. In the days following the tragedy, South African authorities launched an investigation into Lion Park's safety measures. Was management doing enough? Were staff adequately trained? How could such a fatal incident occur in a place where experts knew the dangers? Public outrage flooded forums and news outlets. Was the open window to blame the driver's role, or Jenna's choice to disregard protocol? Many pointed fingers, but the hard truth remained. Jenna was an experienced professional who made a fatal decision, ignoring the fragile boundary between admiration and peril. Her death sparked broader debates on the ethics of wildlife photography. Should anyone risk such proximity to a dangerous predator for the sake of a photograph? As the shock faded, Jenna's legacy took shape. Her final images, vibrant and haunting, captured the majestic beauty and lethal unpredictability of the African wilderness. At her memorial in London, her family spoke of a woman whose passion for wildlife and conservation burned fiercely. Her mother's tearful words resonated deeply. Jenna wasn't careless or reckless. She loved these creatures with all her heart. But one choice in Lion Park changed everything. The room was silent, the weight of that truth sinking in. Even the most skilled and respectful can fall prey to nature's unpredictability. This story reminds us that no matter how much we admire or understand wild animals, they remain powerful and unpredictable forces of nature. What boundaries should we never cross when we step into their world? If this touched you, please like the video, share your thoughts or stories in the comments, and subscribe for more eye-opening stories about wildlife and survival. Sharing this helps others respect and stay safe around nature's fiercest creatures. Thanks for watching. Stay curious, stay safe, and remember, respect is the key to coexistence. Jenna's story became a solemn, cautionary tale, a vivid reminder that no photograph or moment is worth risking a life. The wild does not yield. It surprises and commands respect. As friends and family mourned, the world reflected on the cost of a single tragic decision. Her images live on preserving the spirit of the wilderness she loved so much, the lions, elephants, and endless landscapes captured with reverence and heartbreak. The lesson is clear: respect the wild. Respect the rules, because in the blink of an eye, nature can shift from beauty to danger. This tragedy stands as a stark, unyielding lesson. Nature, in its rawest form, demands reverence, not conquest. Push its boundaries, ignore its warnings, and the cost can be devastating: a trail of shattered dreams and spilled blood. Some wild hearts will never bend to human will, only break under their own wild weight, sometimes with tragic finality.